The Senate will come to order. Senators will be in their seats. The clerk will call the roll.
Alley, Baumgardner, Billinger, Bowers, Clays, Corson, Dietrich, Dahl, Erickson, Bagg, Alscadeau, Francisco, Gossage, Haley, Hawk, Hildebrand, Holland, Holscher, Hershen, Cluse, Longbine, Masterson, McGinn, Olson, O'Shea, Peck, Peterson, Petty, Pittman, Kyle, Reichman, Steffen, Straub, Sullentrop, Sykes, Thompson, Tyson, Ware, Warren, Wilborn.
Here. Senators and guests, please rise and give prayerful attention to our guest chaplain, Bishop Kathleen Bascom. She is a guest of the senator from Shawnee, Senator Dietrich.
God of power, God of people, you are the life of all that lives, the energy that fills the earth, the vitality that brings to birth, the impetus in making whole whatever is broken. In you, we grow to know the truth that sets all creation free. You are the song the whole earth sings, the promise liberation brings. O God, give courage, wisdom, and foresight to these Senate leaders that they may, in this particular era, provide for the people, land, and communities of Kansas. Amen.
Standing. Please note reference of bills on pages 1 through 2 of the calendar. Messages from the House, the clerk will read.
Announcing passage of HB 2480, HB 2564, 2480, an act concerning water, HB 2564, an act concerning insurance.
This constitutes the introduction of those bills previously read. Before recessing, are there announcements? Chair recognizes the senator from Cherokee, Senator Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The legislative Bible study will be tomorrow at 7 a.m. in room 142. And we are discussing rising to greatness, restoring your brother. Hope to see you there.
Seeing no other announcements, I turn to the chair, the senator from Cali, Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the Senate recess, but before I do that, the Republicans will caucus in 548 upon the recess, and I yield to the senator from Douglas, Senator Francisco.
Chair recognizes the senator from Douglas, Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Senate Democrats will caucus in our regular room, 287 North, upon recess to discuss the 4 bills under general orders. I yield back to the senator from Cali.
Chair recognizes the senator from Cali, Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now I move the Senate recess to the sound of the gavel.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. The Senate is recessed. Senate will come to order. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader from Cali, Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the Senate resolve itself into Committee of the Whole for the consideration of bills on the calendar under the heading of General Orders.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. The chair appoints the senator from Sedgwick, Senator McGinn, to preside over the committee as a whole.
The Senate, having resolved itself into the Committee of the Whole, will now consider those items listed on the calendar under the heading of General Orders. We will now turn our attention to SB 343. Chair recognizes the Senator from Shawnee, Senator O'Shea, to explain the bill and to adopt the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move we adopt the committee report.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You may continue.
Senate Bill 343, the idea was brought to me by my constituent who's in the stands today with the desire to change in the statutory references hearing impairment to hard of hearing and deaf. And so we worked together with some of the different stakeholders over the year to refine the language and also added some technical updates as well. As you can see, there were proponents and no opponents, and with that, I'll stand for questions.
Are there questions for the Senator from Shawnee? Chair recognizes the Senator from Douglas. Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I apologize, for, I did mention this briefly to the Senator from Shawnee, but I was asking why the word visual was struck on page 3 and also on page 15 as part of the term physical or mental impairment. And I believe it may have just been an oversight in the bill.
Senator from Shawnee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I, as we were talking earlier, was trying to look into that. I'm not super sure.
Senator from Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's other parts of the bill that do refer to blindness, and I'm asking if I've asked for an amendment. I'm wondering if we could pass over this, and that would also give the Senator from Shawnee time to talk to the reviser.
Yes, that would be good. Do you have any objection? See no objections. Pass over the bill. We will pass over 343. At this time, Chair recognizes the Senator from Butler, Senator Fagg, to explain Senate Bill 331.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 331 would amend the effective date specified in the Insurance Code for the risk-based capital instructions promulgated by the National Association of Insurance Commissioners for property and casualty companies and for life insurance companies. The instructions currently specified became effective on December 31, 2020. The bill would update the effective date of the RBC instructions to December 31, 2021. The Kansas Insurance Department provided proponent testimony stating the goal of RBC is to ensure each Kansas domestic insurance company has the required amount of capital needed to support its overall business operations in consideration of its size and risk profile. The bill updates RBC instructions, which instruct companies to calculate and report RBC to the current version. There is no opponents to this, there is no fiscal effect, and unanimous recommendation of the Financial Institution and Insurance Committee. Basically, this is just a date change. I stand for questions.
Are there questions for the Senator from Butler? Seeing none, you may close.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The bill would update the effective date of the RBC instructions to December 31, 2021. And with that, I move that when the committee rises and reports, it reports Senate Bill 331 favorably for passage.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. At this time, we'll turn our attention to Senate Bill 377. For the purposes of explaining the bill, Chair recognizes Senator from Lyon, Senator Long Biden, and to adopt the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move we adopt the committee report.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You may continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 377 would make amendments to the Captive Insurance Act to allow technology-enabled fiduciary financial institutions, or Tefes, to operate captive insurance companies in the state of Kansas. Most captive insurance companies are offshore for tax reasons, and because of changes in tax law made a couple of years ago, there's been a lot of effort to repatriate those. So this act is setting up the framework for that. And the only changes made to the Captive Insurance Act only pertain to the Tefes. So this bill sets the conditions for residency and that they can be domiciled in the state of Kansas. It sets up parameters for their board of directors and their examination schedules. It also, because Tefes are a unique business model with alternative investment, it allows them to seed with in-kind policies and to be able to move in-kind policies from one bucket to the other. It establishes organization, policy governance, and the legal form to where it can operate in the state of Kansas. They will continue to be regulated by the Kansas Insurance Department. There is also another backstop behind that, in that these companies also have reinsurance behind the captive insurance company. And so if it is not operating on a proper method or not reserving enough, then their cost of reinsurance would either be prohibited or it would greatly raise. As I said, this makes no changes to the actual normal Captive Insurance Act. It's only changes as related to a TEFI. The language in the bill are a product of discussions and work between the pilot TEFI and the insurance department. And with that, Madam Chair, I'll answer questions.
Are there questions for the senator from Lyon? Chair recognizes Senator from Douglas, Senator Holland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If the carrier bill will stand for a few questions.
You will.
So just, I want to understand basically, we talked about these captive insurance companies and how the TEFI, could the carrier please describe the difference between the TEFI captive insurance company versus the other insurance companies, what the difference is?
Senator from Lyon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I assume that the question pertains to the captive insurance market. And so captive insurance market is nothing new to Kansas. It's been around for a number of years, and there are a number of captive insurance. I would say the main difference between the TEFI captive insurance company and a regular captive is they do have the ability, as we remember from our passage of the TEFI bill, these are alternative investments which are normally either low in liquidity or non-liquid, do not have liquidity. And so this would allow, if they have a loss, to be able to move one depreciated non-liquid asset from one bucket into another to cover that loss.
Senator from Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just so I understand, it sounds like the TEFI captive operators, they're selling investment product to their policyholders, correct?
Senator from Lyon.
That is technically correct, but they're also one and the same.
Senator from Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Does this bill allow a TEFI captive insurance company to basically sell riskier assets to itself than a non-TEFI captive insurance company.
Senator from Lyon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would not classify them as riskier. I would classify them more as different.
Senator from Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so basically, there's reinsurance companies that back up the TEFE product offerings to its policyholders, i.e. itself. Is that correct?
Senator from Lyon.
That is correct.
Senator from Douglas.
So I remember, Madam Chair, like you had the subprime mortgage crisis, and you had all these basically mortgage companies that were creating derivatives and slicing and dicing and selling this off to secondary markets. And we saw that whole thing collapse. In fact, AIG was a big reinsurer of those markets. They darn near went down the tubes. I guess what I'm wondering here is that unwittingly, is there a chance that we're opening up those reinsurers to more risk, that at some point the policyholders, if the TEFE tanks, would the reinsurers and basically be in a situation where this could come back on the American taxpayer? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator from Lyon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't believe so. The reinsurance companies are examining the risk when they're pricing the product. And so, I don't anticipate any kind of adverse collapse or anything like that. But the price of reinsurance will be determined by the reinsurance company based on the risk that they see and the operation of the company.
Senator from Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would assume that basically you'd have a Standard & Poor's or somebody like that. Basically, would they be providing basically investment grade rating opportunities on the product that the TEFE is selling to itself?
Senator from Lyon.
I do not know the answer to that.
Senator from Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just so one more question then, did our insurance commissioner weigh in on this bill?
Senator from Lyon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, as I said in my explanation, this bill is a product of our insurance commissioner and the TEFE. They spent many, many hours putting it together, and they are both in full agreement of the bill that is before us today.
Senator from Douglas.
My apologies, Madam Chair. Did he say the reinsurance commissioner, or did our commissioner of insurance, Commissioner Schmidt, did she weigh in on this?
Senator from Lyon.
Yes.
Senator from Douglas.
And what was her opinion? Because in the write-up we got, I just had it looks like the TEFE was in favor of this, but I didn't see who else was in favor, and I apologize if it's there. It's not. I'm just not seeing it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Got a question, or are you finished?
It's a question. Is there anybody else that testified? And who were the proponents of the bill? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We did not have anyone testify, but I did have conversations with the commissioner herself on more than one occasion, and I had a conversation, multiple conversations with her legislative director, and they were in full agreement with the bill.
Senator from Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not trying to cast any aspersions on this stuff, but when we look at basically the assets that's involved in the instruments of what the TEFE is selling to itself, these are basically highly volatile assets. They're also illiquid in nature that would potentially have a much greater risk profile than maybe a Standard & Poor's or somebody, if they're rating those, would actually be able to comprehend. I'll take a pass on this one. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Other questions for the Senator from Lyon? Seeing none, Senator, you may close.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that when the committee rises and reports, it reports Senate Bill 377 favorably for passage.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. For the purpose of explaining Senate Bill 200, Chair recognizes the Senator from Cherokee, Senator Hildebrand, and to adopt the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we adopt the committee report.
You've all heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. You may continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 200 would allow pharmacists to address common ailments like the flu, strep throat, and urinary tract infections Pharmacists would be empowered to do so using consistent protocols established by an existing committee of pharmacists and physicians. And this bill, as introduced when it was first written, did have some opponents. The opponents were the Kansas Association of Osteopathic Medicine, Kansas Chiropractor Association, KMS, Kansas Chapter of Academy of Pediatrics, Kansas Academy of Family Physicians. With some negotiating between some of the proponents and opponents, they came up with an amendment. After the amendment was put on, I do know for sure that at least the KMS dropped their from opposition to neutral, and there were several proponents to this bill as well. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Are there questions for the senator from Cherokee? Chair recognizes the senator from Sedgwick. Senator Ware.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The idea behind this bill is great. I applaud it. I do have a question, though. As I read through the supplemental notes, it's the third bullet point on the second page says that it allows for the advisory committee to adopt a statewide protocol for each condition listed. But on page 1 of the bill, on line 26, it says the Collaborative Drug Management Advisory Committee may adopt a statewide protocol. I would be more comfortable if that said shall. So that we don't inadvertently end up with pharmacists being de facto doctors. I think that would be a good guardrail.
Senator from Cherokee, would you like to respond?
I'm wondering, does she have an amendment, or that was just
an amendment prepared?
I don't have an amendment prepared. Can we do it?
So how would you like to proceed? Would you like to do an amendment?
I think it should say shall, yes.
Why don't you find out from the revisor's office how quickly you could do an amendment, and we'll go back to Senate Bill 343. Okay. Senator from Sedgwick. Senator Ware. We're going to return back to 343, and could you, in the meantime, find out what the ETA would be on this amendment?
Thank you, I will.
Okay, thank you. If there's no objections, we're going to return back to Senate Bill 343 and recognize the senator from Shawnee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There was an error on page 3, line 24, and page 15, line 2. The word visual should not be crossed out. And so it is my understanding that we have an amendment.
You're working on it?
Here.
Are we working on it?
It's here.
It's here.
Maybe.
Chair recognizes Senator from Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did ask for an amendment before we came to the floor and just asked the revisor, who's checked with them. I understand that it's top priority, but I have not received it yet. So I did ask for that amendment before we came to the floor, but just before we came to the floor. I'm pleased to hear that that was just an oversight, and want to thank the senator from Shawnee for the good work that's been done on this bill. I'd like to see it passed, and I'd like to see it passed so that the members in the House could simply concur.
Okay, the Senate body will stand at ease until we get further communications on one or the other bill. Current information, we were on Senate Bill 343, and now we're going to flip back to Senate Bill 200, and the chair recognizes Senator from Cherokee, Senator Hildebrand.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate that discussion that Senator from Sedgwick brought to our attention. And for those in our colleagues in the chamber, what she was referring to cannot happen unless it falls under the first part of new section 1, where it says a pharmacist may initiate therapy within the framework of a statewide protocol for the following health conditions. So that has to be set by that board before that could kick in. So there's no need for a shall.
Yeah.
And I stand for more questions.
Senator from Sedgwick appears to be satisfied. Chair recognizes Senator from Barton, Senator Straub. I got it. I was getting there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple quick questions here. And I did go back and review the hearing on this bill from last year. I don't think that there was a hearing held this year, unless I'm mistaken. But how would a pharmacist discern between COVID and the flu, or a urinary tract infection and bladder cancer, or streptococcal pharyngitis and severe allergies? How would a pharmacist discern between the diagnosis of the health conditions that are listed in the bill?
Senator from Cherokee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And a pharmacist will use what's called a CLIA-waived molecular test that is specific for each individual. So if it's for the flu or strep or UTI.
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if a pharmacist is practicing medicine, then would they be required to carry malpractice insurance?
Senator from Cherokee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To clarify this, a pharmacist will be under their scope of practice, so they won't actually be practicing medicine. They'll be doing whatever their pharmacist scope of practice is. And yes, they currently have to have insurance now on everything that they do.
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is the insurance that pharmacists currently carry, is it comparable to malpractice insurance that's required to be carried by physicians?
Senator from Cherokee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have not read their policy, so I could not answer that question.
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really would like to know those things, if at all possible, if someone from the Board of Pharmacy or something could address those issues.
Senator from Cherokee.
Madam Chair, no way to answer that question. I'm not a member of the Board of Pharmacy, and we don't have a member of the Board of Pharmacy on the floor, so.
Question appears to not be able to be answered at this time. Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would assume that our Board of Pharmacy is the license issuing agency or state board, and I would assume that they should be able to answer that question. Unfortunately, I don't feel that this bill was given enough time in committee to thoroughly work it, and in the interest of protecting Kansans and the quality of care that they receive, I would want to ensure that pharmacists who are practicing medicine carry the same type of malpractice insurance that any physician would be required to carry, and that we hold them to the same standards that we currently do our other healthcare professionals. Thank you.
Are there other questions for the Senator from Cherokee? Chair recognizes Senator from Urson. Senator Wilburn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do know a little bit about medical malpractice. I can tell you that pharmacists have malpractice coverage right now, and their protocol would just expand that coverage. It's covered under the pharmacy malpractice coverage, period.
All right. Thank you. Other questions for the Senator from Cherokee? Seeing none, Senator, you may close.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that when the committee rises and it reports Senate Bill 200 favorably for passage.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We'll return back to Senate Bill 343 and see what the status is. Senator from Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have been told that It will arrive momentarily. How many minutes do you want to give us before I turn in my written floor amendment?
What's the definition of momentarily? I know you wrote the amendment, but it does make it easier for staff if it is almost here. I'm getting that it is almost here, so we will stand at ease. All right. It appears the amendment has arrived. Senator from Douglas, if you are prepared to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The amendment is to insert visual on page 3 in line 25, and also insert visual on page 15 in line 2, but they're inserting it on line 3, and it doesn't make any difference because they're inserting it before language. And I would stand for any questions.
All right, and you've turned it in because I have it. So
I've turned it in.
Good.
It's
Are there questions?
3244.
Yes. Are there questions for the senator from Douglas? Senator from Shawnee, you did get a copy of the amendment, correct? Okay, thank you. Any questions for the senator from Douglas? Seeing none, Senator, you may close.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe this was just an oversight. It's a great bill, and hopefully this makes it perfect. I move my amendment.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We're back on the bill. Any other questions for the senator from Shawnee? Seeing none, Senator, you may close.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and extra thank you for the senator from Douglas, Senator Francisco, for very carefully catching that. All right, with that, I move that when the committee rise and report, it reports Senate Bill 343 favorably for passage.
As amended.
As amended.
Thank you. You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader from Cali, Senator Alley.
Since we have several members of the body that will be gone tomorrow, I was going right here. First. I move the committee rise and report.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
The clerk will read the committee report.
On motion of Senator Alley, the Senate resolved itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of bills on the calendar under heading of General Orders with Senator McGinn in the chair. Recommended, Senate Bill 377 and Senate Bill 200 be amended by adoption of the committee reports and the bills be passed as amended. Senate Bill 343 be amended by adoption of the committee report, be further amended on motion of Senator Francisco, and the bill be passed as further amended. Senate Bill 331 be passed.
The chair recognizes the senator from Sedgwick, Senator McGinn, to adopt the committee report.
I move adoption of the committee report.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader from Cali, Senator Alley.
Now, since the several members of our body will be gone tomorrow, I move the emergency be declared, the rules suspended, and the following bills be advanced to final action and roll call. Senate Bill 343, Senate Bill 331, Senate Bill 377, and Senate Bill 200.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion carries. We are now ready for final action. On this roll call, we will take the following Senate bills on pages 3 and 4, Senate Bill 343, Senate Bill 331, Senate Bill 377, and Senate Bill 200. The clerk will read the titles.
Senate Bill 343, an act concerning persons with hearing loss. Senate Bill 331, an act concerning insurance. Senate Bill 377, an act concerning insurance. Senate Bill 200, an act concerning pharmacist and pharmacy.
The clerk will call the roll.
Alley. Baumgardner. Billinger. Bowers. Clays. Corson. Dietrich. Dahl. Erickson. Bagg. Voscadeau. Francisco. Gossage. Haley. Hawk. Hildebrand. Holland. Holscher. Kirshen. Close. Longbine. Masterson. McGinn. Olson. O'Shea. Peck. Peterson. Petty, Pittman, Isle, Reichman, Steffen, Straub, Sullentrop, Sykes, Thompson, Tyson, Ware, Warren, Wilborn.
Has every senator had an opportunity to vote? Does any senator wish to explain their vote? The chair recognizes the senator from Barton, Senator Straub.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the spirit of protecting Kansans and the quality of their health care, I vote no on Senate Bill 200, not because I don't want to provide more access to care, but because I value the quality of that care over quantity. I think we all can relate in standing in line at a pharmacy. I'm not sure how our pharmacists are going to also be providing and practicing medicine. Thank you.
Would you like your words spread across the journal? So deemed. Yes, the senator from Montgomery, Senator Peck.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I know what was on your mind there. Thanks to the good senator from Shawnee helping you understand what county I was from. When the carrier of 331 was explaining the legislation, I guess I got a little confused by some of the wording that he used. And now that I've had an opportunity to review the legislation, I want to change on 331 from no to yes. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. The clerks have that change made. Senator from Riley, Senator Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I vote aye on all 4 bills.
Thank you. Any other explanation of vote or change of vote? Seeing none, the clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Thirty-three having voted in favor and 0 against Senate Bill 343 and Senate Bill 331. 37 having voted in favor, 2 against Senate Bill 200, and 36 having voted in favor and 3 opposed to Senate Bill 377. These measures having received the required constitutional majority are hereby declared passed. Introduction of bills and concurrent resolutions the clerk will read.
Senate Bill 510 by Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning real property. Senate Bill 511 by Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning public employee. Senate Bill 512 by Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning vehicles. Senate Bill 513 by Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning property taxation. Senate Bill 514 by Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning income taxation. Senate Bill 515 by Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning education. Senate Bill 516 by Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning taxation.
This constitutes the introduction of Senate Bill 510 through Senate Bill 516. Reports of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Mr. President, the Committee on Public Health and Welfare recommends Senate Bill 168 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. Senator Hildebrand, chairperson. Mr. President, the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources recommends Senate Bill 345 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. Senator Kirshen, chairperson. Mr. President, the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources recommends 417 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. Senator Kirshen, chairperson. Mr. President, the Committee on Commerce recommends Senate Bill 382 be passed. Senator Erickson, chairperson. Mr. President, the Committee on Ways and Means recommends Senate Bill 443 be passed. Senator Billinger, chairperson. Mr. President, the Committee on Assessment and Taxation recommends Senate Bill 339 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. Senator Tyson, chairperson. Mr. President, the Committee on Assessment and Taxation recommends Senate Bill 463 be passed, and because the committee is of the opinion that the bill is of a non-controversial nature, be placed on the consent calendar. Senator Tyson, chairperson. Mr. President, the Committee on Judiciary recommends Senate Bill 395 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. Senator Warren, chairperson.
Before we go to announcements, there was a little miscommunication. Senate Bill 343 and Senate Bill 331 passed 39-0, both of them. Are there announcements? Yes, the Senator, Chair recognizes the Senator from Wyandotte, Senator Petty.
Thank you. You had on your desk a flyer about the Early Learning Caucus, which will be held tomorrow at noon. And Monica Mernan, a former legislator, will be presenting on early learning and childcare and where does the money come from and where does it go in your district. So it's a great opportunity to learn about the programs that both state and federal that have funding that passes through to our communities and how that can be accessed. Also, Logan Stinson with Thrive Allen County, they're working on an early childhood policy and outcomes committee to help bring more child care opportunities to communities in the state of Kansas that are smaller communities with 10,000 or less residents. So he will be there already also to talk about the efforts that are going on there. So I encourage you to join us. We're going to be in room 118 North at noon. Thank you.
The Chair recognizes the Senator from Saline, Senator Clays.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Corrections and Public Safety Budget will meet today at 4:15 and 548 South to complete hearings and deliberations on agency budgets.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Johnson, Senator Holscher.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My apologies for being tardy today. The good news, though, is that my son, who is 14 years old and got a broken nose a couple weeks ago, will be fine. And his nose will be going back to normal as of today. While I am here, I do want to take a moment to recognize some guests we have in the gallery. Today we have with us the Kansas Council of Health System Pharmacy and Kansas Pharmacist Association. And as you all know, the past 2 years have been pretty challenging for so many, including our pharmacists. And we thank you all so much for your work, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements? I have one. The Senate Redistricting Committee will meet tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. in room 548 South for informational hearing. Chair now recognizes the Senator from Cali, Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that Senate adjourn pro forma until 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 16th, 2022.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion carried. Senate is adjourned.